Hey guys, Manny David here on the Fragcast. Thanks for tuning in once again. If you guys don't know who we are yet, I'll leave links in the description below at youtube.com/c/the Fragcast. So check us out on our main channel. We got a few casts already up. This is going to be a very cool edition of the Fragcast. Got a really cool topic here in clones, which we'll get to in a bit. Sadly, my co-host officially in Kristo cannot be here today, but I have a very special guest in Simply Put Sense, my good friend E. What's going on?
You're hanging in there, bro. Not complaining.
Well, hey, I really appreciate the fact that you can be here with us today. And this topic for me in clones is something I've never discussed on my personal channel, ever, on CascadeScents. But X amount of YouTubers are not afraid to discuss this. It's not like I am. It's just like I haven't delved into it yet. But a few people have, and have been they've been catching catastrophic, bot dislikes against them, specifically on clones about Aventus per se. I know you haven't got into doing an Aventus clone dedicated video yet, but there's a few people who have, and it's so unfortunate that they're being disliked like crazy for it. Unwarranted too. It's because I don't know, they're not even catching that crazy flack on their comments. I'm trying to figure out why this has happened to some people. I'm not going to mention any names, but it definitely has happened. But yeah,
they touched it. You cannot touch the third rail.
Why is it so touchy though? I want to know.
You cannot touch the third rail. There's a third rail in the fragcomm. I think pretty much every one of us have figured it out at this point. You just don't talk ill of Creed's Aventus. Thou shalt not talk bad about Creed's Aventus. That's pretty much the rule. That's the third rail, the elephant in the room. If you discuss it, if you share with anyone an alternative to it, you pretty much are tarred and feathered amongst a few people who really take it personal. And then you would think they're Olivier Creed himself. It's hilarious.
While I get that, why? I like Aventus too. I've experimented with 4 different batches. I own 2. But why the rabid following? Why?
That's a great question. When I first smoked Aventus, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit disappointed. And I think my disappointment was based on the fact that my expectation was so huge, and that's what I think is a downfall when your expectations are high in the frag community, in the frag game, when you really, really want to love a scent so much. I think sometimes that can work against you when you actually smell it for the first time, because it can really throw you back. So I was really expecting Creed's Aventus to be otherworldly, and it was pretty, I wouldn't say ordinary by any means, because it is an amazing fragrance. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it didn't reach the level of amazement that I was expecting. Let's put it that way. And I was a little torn. I was like, okay, this is a good scent. This smells nice. But I don't know. I think I was expecting God's sweat or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The hype is far greater than the scent. Someone who loves a scent and loves what it does as far as its versatility and a good batch's performance.
Pretty much.
It's just in which it's talked about. It's so crazy to how it has a cult following. Sometimes that things in life that do have cult followings are just inexplicable, I guess.
Definitely. But I think also people just don't. I think that people they just love this scent so much. And it's weird. I do not understand the emotional attachment to that particular scent.
I mean, maybe they have these, random experiences in life with this scent. Maybe they do. And if they don't, then you're right. I'm with you. I don't get the attachment at all.
And what's funny is the new Aventus is starting to become Sauvage, because that's the new polarizing fragrance has a love-hate group, and they both kind of battle each other for who's right about the fragrance.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
No, definitely. Because there's definitely polarization there as a result, which
Serious,
we'll definitely get into in a sec.
for sure.
That being said, we do have like this top three kind of thing in which we'll go back and forth with our top three selections for our favorite clones of, perhaps great scents.
Cool.
Yeah. So if anything, I'd like for you to kick us off. So if anything, what is your third favorite clone or fragrance clone per se?
I was going to say Original Santal by Creed.
Wow. Creed's putting work.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure. This is not a bash Creed episode at all. I truly appreciate Creed. Don't get me wrong.
You said Original Santal.
But I think this is an amazing clone of Individual by Montblanc. So it's absolutely, I think, a step up. And I think Individual is an amazing fragrance. But Original Santal took it to another level, pretty much.
Wow.
And I do definitely consider it a clone. It's very controversial. I don't think it's too controversial. I think pretty much we understood that in the com, but it's funny that it's not outright considered clone. It's very, like how people talk about other fragrances from, let's say, Armand, for instance. It's not, people don't look at it in the same
because
way.
of the hallowed ground that Creed has created itself.
Yes.
So, shout outs to Creed for putting in years of work in. Now they can clone stuff and no one's going to crap on them for it.
Yeah,
But
they get a free pass.
when they do it, they do it at a high level.
Well, definitely.
Because Original Santal, no one can crap on its, quality. It's
for sure.
The sandalwood is on point blank.
For sure.
And I think it definitely does Individual better than Individual does. But for me, it's not on my list as much as I love it because Individual is already good enough for the price it's at.
For sure.
Yeah. So
what's your number three?
My number three. My number three is without a doubt New Harlem to Rojas Man. And nice. New Harlem by Bond Number 9, of course. Rojas Man by Rojas. Both great breakfast coffee type scents. And New Harlem takes it to another level in the, at least I get better performance than it. Maybe it's my reformulation of Rojas Man. But I like what New Harlem does a bit more for me. It's a little bit more syrupy, in my opinion, as well. I don't get just straight coffee, which I appreciate. And it just feels like a better quality frag. Because for me, Bond Number 9 is a polarizing house because of the fact that they have a lot of scents that are at niche pricing, but they don't smell like niche quality. And for me, New Harlem is it smells like a niche version of Rojas Man. So that's
now see, it's funny that you mentioned Rojas because at the end of the day, that's actually a clone of Michael Jordan Legend.
Wait, did Rojas Man come out before Michael Jordan Legend?
No, it did not. Michael Jordan Legend is the beginning, and actually New Harlem is a clone of Michael Jordan Legend.
Wait, I have to
that was the original. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is real. Michael Jordan Legend is the egg that batched all of these.
Holy crap! I hope I'm not in the minority here.
No, it's truth, man. You can look it up. Michael Jordan Legend. Who would have ever known? Who would ever guess it? A celebrity scent. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I prefer Legend over Rojas.
Dude, this is insane because you have Bond Number 9 copying a fragrance that copied a celebrity scent. This is
sir.
I feel like it's such a bad host, but thank you.
It's really sad. It's not sad. It's not sad, but it's fascinating that's the case. But it also goes to show you that there's nothing new under the sun. And the whole idea of clones, or I don't even like the word clones because it's kind of it's degrading. It's more like, these companies they're using or alternatives. Okay. They're basically all using, there's nothing new under the sun. They're all using notes that, they all have access to.
It's familiar compositions, just their redux or their own take.
Right. And remember, I was talking to you about the whole idea of fragrances being, in my opinion, like food recipes.
Okay.
So McDonald's might make a cheeseburger, Wendy's might make a cheeseburger, Burger King might make a cheeseburger, but who makes the best cheeseburger. No one says, oh, Burger King is cloning McDonald's because they're making French fries and cheeseburgers.
It's just a familiar recipe.
You basically go to who makes it better to your taste.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, if Creed makes a cheeseburger and Michael Jordan Legend is a cheeseburger and Rojas make a cheeseburger, I'll choose which cheeseburger I like the best,
Okay.
and I'll just go with that. I don't really look at it as, darn these brands for making these cheeseburgers, or darn these brands for making all these scents that smell the same. It's like, just choose the one you like and just move on,
No, I'm with you there. In accordance to your own taste as far as its scent itself and your budget. So I'm actually really glad that we see this, because there are some people who want to smell like, New Harlem, for example, but they can only afford a Michael Jordan Legend. And
right.
It may or may not be good enough in their case. So, I'm glad that we have some of these stages sometimes. And I think that's cool. And I don't think, this is why I haven't really shat on clones per se, or alternatives like you said. So respect to that.
No, I mean, yeah, we shouldn't be really as focused on the fact that fragrance brands do similar scents. We should be more focused on which scent we like. I think that should be the focus.
Which one is the best? Yeah.
Right. Why focus on, which you prefer? It should be that should be the point of it, not as opposed to, I'm so mad at them for doing something like them. At the end of the day, they're using scent essences from various different sources, and at the end of the day, some of them are going to make similar things. It's not like there's no minerals and elements from the moon or outer space that we can obtain at this point. So we're just stuck with what we have.
Yeah, and what we can do with what we have. So
pretty much.
All right. All right. So moving on to your number 2. What is your
okay? My number 2 would be Reflection Man, for sure. My number 2 would be Reflection Man. I definitely believe it's a clone of them all, and I definitely think it's an amazing clone of them all.
Yes.
Definitely the best ever done. Yeah.
As far,
and there have been many since that I think Lamar has inspired, and I think that's definitely the best of the bunch.
Absolutely. Amouage Reflection Man, obviously one of my favorite scents, so I can't hate on that selection whatsoever, unless I were to disagree with it being cloned. But no, I don't. The sandalwood dry down is pretty much verbatim.
Yeah.
The white florals in Amouage Reflection Man is done hella better. Period. It opens up better.
Way much more refined.
And it's from stage to stage definitely smoother. And as far as the high-end clone or remixes or alternative sort of things, I think that one is the best for me in regards to when you compare it to New Harlem in comparison to Rojas Man, or when you compare it to original Santal to to Individual. I just think that Reflection Man yes, it's definitely inspired by them all, but it does the best job of being its own fragrance in comparison to everyone else's remix.
I see that.
So I shout outs to Amouage for that, and also shout outs to Amouage for not borderline copying anything else. I think that's also cool. For the most part, it's a unique house.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. For sure. But that was definitely an inspirational fragrance. I think a derivative fragrance, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. Just wondering though, do you think Reflection Man is worth it at that MSRP it's at? I think
the retail price, no, but the price you can get it at, for sure.
Okay, no, respect. So fragrance, yes. Yeah. MSRP, no.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, for the price that you can, buy it for the retail. I mean, you can just get 2 bottles of
your favorite designers,
Lamar, and a vintage Lamar, excuse me, nice. and probably a little extra to go for a bottle of Reflection Man at Fragrance. So it pretty much makes no sense to buy it retail.
Yeah, definitely not. My number 2 may or may not shock some people.
Mm.
It's Golden Boy by Duetto Parfums in
Mm.
comparison to Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford, of course, being a private blend.
Ah.
I have a really easy explanation to this. Tuscan Leather to me is just a little bit too dressy per se. Like it's just too bougie or
Really?
ritzy for me. And Golden Boy is just a hella lax leather jacket type scent. And
Really?
it's just
Okay.
for me, it's just it just feels casual.
Mm.
I'm not sure if I've psychologically programmed myself to feel that way because of how cheap it is compared to Tuscan Leather, but
Mm.
I love what it does for me. I'm not saying it's a better scent because I
Right.
don't think it is. It
Right.
just I'd rather not reach for a straight up leather scent for for dressy occasions, and that's why I would reach for other things like Jubilation 25 Man by Amouage, stuff like that. To me, that just makes me more feel good in ritzy situations. But I'd want to reach for leather scents for like night out casual situations, and I
Mm.
think Golden Boy at the price and the way it just makes me feel like is a great alternative.
That's interesting. Now, I honestly, I would wear leather anywhere. I would I would wear my leather fragrances to the store.
Okay. Which leather
Like
fragrances do
I'm
you
really, let's see. Well, I don't want to discuss them all because that would be one of my number. That would definitely run into my number one.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
let's get
So
there first.
we'll get there first. Yeah.
We can go into that later.
Oh
But
no, fair enough.
I would definitely. I'm one of those people. I don't. When it comes to scents that are formal or playful, I really don't care whether I wear them for playful or formal moments. Except for let's put it like this: formal moments, I'm a lot more discerning. Like for a really serious situation or scenario I'm gonna be involved in, I will definitely wear a fragrance that matches that situation. But when it comes to casual, I'll wear formal fragrances for casual. I'll wear sport fragrances for casual. Like I'll wear whatever for casual. It really doesn't matter. It depends on my mood, my feeling at the moment, what I'm wearing,
Yeah.
and the weather, of course.
Because you
But
have to have reverence for the formal situation, but casual, it's like you
yeah,
can literally
sometimes I like to
express
shock
yourself.
people. For instance,
Yeah.
also, like sometimes, some of your formal fragrances are a little bit more classy. And it's a really cool juxtaposition sometimes when you wear it with something casual and informal. It can kind of throw people off, which is sometimes what I like to do with my style. I don't like to come across as simple. Not to say that if you were to do the opposite, you are simple, but I don't like to come across expected, you know?
I get that.
So I like to throw people off. So when I'm wearing a fragrance that is kind of formal with a pair of shorts, it'll throw people off. And I think sometimes it works to my advantage depending on, who I'm interacting with.
No, I'm not gonna front. Like when it comes to like some of my more flattering ritzy scents, if I have worn it in like a daytime casual setting, like again, Jubilation 25 Man, I've had stellar response with it. And
Right.
yeah, like if for whatever reason you're feeling that way and you got the personality to rock it, there's no reason to why you shouldn't wear a fragrance that's supposedly formal in informal situations. So
Pretty much.
no,
I was wearing John Varvatos in high school.
wow.
So yeah. And that's more of like a mature man scent. I was wearing Xexeris in high school by Givenchy.
Speaking of John Varvatos, I feel like his sense of recent, like Dark Rebel, for example. Like I feel like Johnny Depp would have been a better cover boy for that than like Savage. Just because
Yeah,
like to me it's just like more rugged, mid 40s, like
but you want to know
slightly
something
more.
interesting? If and I'm basing this strictly off of what I'm noticing on in terms of like YouTube and other women's opinions, but I don't know what it is. But I think Dior did an amazing job, probably market testing the scent, because it seems as if to every woman right now, well, to a lot of women, this fragrance seems to be like the epitome of masculinity. It's amazing to me how many women consider Sauvage a manly scent. I don't consider it the most manly scent in the world.
I swear it's those Sephora ads and stuff.
I don't consider it a manly scent, but to a lot of women, I'm finding that they consider it extremely masculine, along with scents like Jimmy Choo Man, which is another, I call it, a modern day I call like Sauvage, Blue Day, and Jimmy Choo Man. I call them like the modern day generics,
Yeah, you kind of just group them.
which isn't a derogatory term.
You're not being
like I
disparaging.
do like right. I don't disrespect these fragrances. I just consider them very, very easy to like, very easy to wear, very easy to
Dress up or down.
copy. Huh?
Dress up or down.
Yeah. And it's also very easy to inspire. Those are scents that inspire a lot of other fragrances also. So they're very easy to, they're derivative scents, I don't get it.
Yeah. Honestly, I see why you don't get it, just because like when it comes to an overly masculine scent, for us, we would think of like Kuros, Antaeus, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. But I guess it's a generational thing. Tuscan leather, even like most people my age, I'm a mid-20s kind of kid. Like we're more prone to seeing ads for stuff like Sauvage and Blood de Chanel than we are of like Tom Ford private blends, just because like they're not really marketed towards us. So we have less access to them. And I've noticed from my generation, like my homegirl who works at Sephora, like she bought her boyfriend Sauvage, and she's like, I want my man to smell like this every day. And I'm like, oh my God. So like that may or may not be the epitome of masculinity for her. So that's, I respect that, but how much of that is to do with marketing, I don't know. But yeah,
it's strange. I don't know what it is about these modern day generics being considered masculine. They're just, it's fascinating.
I mean, like if the women want to get us in on it, then like, well, who am I to say no? Like, I'm not saying I'm only to wear stuff like that my girl wants me to wear, or stuff that will get me compliments, but I'm not going to be opposed to anyone who does feel that way, especially one who's not really into frags as much as we are, so.
For sure. But it's just one of those things that, I think it just really goes to show you that what women perceive and what men perceive are totally different sometimes when it, our sense of smell perhaps.
Yeah, no,
I'm with fascinating. Because like I really don't see it as a masculine scent, but Johnny Depp is, I don't think the most appropriate person for the fragrance, but I think it was a brilliant move by the brand.
Absolutely.
Like, you cannot blend. Like I think Sauvage is definitely one of the most, I think, effective market tested fragrances of the last few years.
It is the best marketing campaign.
They did an amazing job. Like basically, like they did a really amazing job, like figuring out what the public wanted at the moment and replicating it. Awesome job, I think.
Yeah, so
way better, I think, than what Chanel did when they came out with Blue Day Chanel.
Yeah.
I think this fragrance is just like I don't think it's awesomely special. I just think it's just brilliantly researched.
Okay, brilliantly researched, but it pales definitely in comparison in regards to the marketing as well, for sure. Because you got Johnny Depp on one scale and then Gaspard Ulliel on the other. Gaspard Ulliel, of course, is the kid who played Hannibal in Hannibal Rising. And I can't recall anything else he's done since. But I was like,
and let's not forget the timing of when they released the fragrance. I mean, they came out with the scent right before Christmas of last year. So it's perfectly, as far as like marketing, it was just a brilliantly set up scent.
Yeah, and then people are hating on Dior. I'm like, at the end of the day, these guys have to make money. Girls,
but see, that's the thing I don't get, because I think like they've made money all these years. Like I feel like Sauvage.
This is a stranglehold. This is a stranglehold on the generic market. Or trying to, in my opinion. Plus, Dior has a lot more distribution than Chanel does, for example. And the fact that it hasn't hit the gray market just yet, I thought it would sooner. I think they're doing that fragrance justice as far as milking it in the mainstream solely for X amount of months. And I think that's really smart of them. like you said, it's just a brilliant campaign. What can I say?
Yeah, extremely brilliant.
Oh yeah. Anyway, moving on to our number one clones, yourself.
Yes,
What do you
I think without question, number one for me would have to be Layukawam by Rasasi, definitely. As the Tuscan Leather King. Thanks to Greggy Boy 76 for putting me onto that fragrance about a couple of years ago almost. Absolutely brilliant find for my man Greg, and like grateful for him to, you know, share that find with all of us, because a lot of people would have kept it secret and would have smelled amazing by themselves.
yeah. First off, you said shout out to Greg. Like, Greg, you know, shout outs to you coming from me as well. Definitely a friend of the show. You're welcome back anytime on. But I'm with you there. Like, that's where I first heard about that scent as well. So
yeah, that's that. And the thing about it is, like, to a lot of people, it's a better version of Tuscan Leather than Tuscan Leather, which is pretty interesting, and why I would say it's number one compared to the other two. The other two that I mentioned, Reflection and Original Santal, those are fragrances that are pretty much better than or higher end versions of a designer counterpart, whereas Rasasi took on a private blend fragrance from Tom Ford, and not only did an amazing job mimicking the scent, but effectively switched it up a little bit with the raspberry, and made it a little bit more wearable.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I have to give it I would have to give it my number one spot, because it just had a higher mountain to climb, and it climbed it.
No, respected that. Why I gave Golden Boy my number two. Like, it was just super wearable, and I guess the price.
For 65 for Layukawam, that's insane. Like, insane. When I think about that, bro, like, it's amazing what they do with that price. That price point for that quality, I mean,
that's
crazy.
Undoubtedly, you know, exclusive / niche level quality.
For sure.
And the fact that they're able to, you know, just produce that.
You buy 3 bottles of it, it's like a flacon, and that's no more than a bottle of Black Orchid retail. That's insane.
True. That's amazing. Because Black Orchid retail goes for what, like 150-ish?
Like 160, 170, and with tax, you know.
Yeah, crazy. Good Lord. Oh man.
What would be yours? I'm curious.
My number one is, I'm surprised you don't know. Like, I thought you would. Okay. Or like, do you have any? I want you to guess at this. I'll give you a hint. It's a cheaper version of an expensive fragrance.
Oh boy.
It's the clone of all time.
Okay, you're gonna have to just tell me, because I honestly thought our number ones would be the same, but when you came up with number two, I thought it would be different.
Yeah, no, of course the number two in my reveal of Golden Boy is you just threw you off. But my number one is Cool Water.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. Green Irish Tweed. And I think it is the clone, point blank, period, because they took basically, like, Creed may or may not have been, like, they could have been, you know, defunct per se in the eyes of, you know, just people up until like certain scents were dropped recently in like Aventus, which I think really revived the house, because it's not like people were thirsty looking for like their other scents in like Millesime Imperial and Silver Mountain Water. Right. Like literally like Davidoff, you know, cigar brand, body bag Creed by creating this scent at like a 15th of the price, just as good, performs just as well, and like has higher distribution. Like there was no remote crossover or mainstream niche appeal Creed had up until Aventus, because of the fact that Cool Water just dominated the market with Creed's most hallowed scent. So I feel so strongly about what Green Irish Tweed has done culturally, and the fact that it does Green Irish Tweed well. Like stage wise, they're pretty the same up until like the dry down. And I have a hard time trying to figure out which one's which as well too. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
fooling
especially
me.
vintage bottles of,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's fooling me. It's
Davidos.
fooling everyone
Mhm.
else. You know, like when I wear either of them, they even my friends who know Green Irish Tweed, like they're like unsure if it's Cool Water or not because they know I own both.
Mm.
Like that's how good Cool Water is. Even like newer formulations, which are the ones I own. And again, at the price, like when it came to my number one, if it was going to be a cheaper version of an expensive fragrance, like the value had to be there. Cool Water has it. The scent is there. The performance is there.
Mm.
So I
Yeah, I
got
mean, like Cool Water to me was a foundation fragrance. I didn't even
yes.
know about Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't know about Creed until like much later in life, to be honest. Like it was all about Cool Water when I was younger, for sure. Like every young girl that I knew about Cool Water,
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much. Like, and like, every one of us when we're young, we basically, buy the fragrances, the prettiest girls like, we do that today,
Yeah.
So I mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, that's what it is. So I mean, I found out about Cool Water from the crib pretty much. So yeah, that scent to me was like something that I knew before I even knew Creed existed. And it was actually a shocker to find out that it's a scent that was influenced by Green Irish Tweed. So that
Yeah.
was it was interesting. Very interesting. And I think they did a really good job replicating the vibe and the overall scent of it too. So definitely I could see that being number one.
I like it's just
Definitely.
like I thought like if it wasn't on any of our lists, I would have been super surprised. And to be honest, I was really surprised that like I thought you may or may not have mentioned Original Vetiver by Creed in comparison to
Yeah.
Mugler Cologne, which I think is a very good version of it. But I'm going to just take a wild guess to why you didn't mention it. And I think it's
Yeah. Yeah.
because Mugler Cologne is not that far off quality wise.
You know what? It's not that far off quality wise because I definitely do notice the difference. And I think a lot of people who have newer bottles of Mugler Cologne would know the difference also because
Oh, okay. Yeah.
after I did my video, more and more people reached out and I found that it's basically been reformulated heavily since the bottle that I've owned that I used to do my review. So I was actually a little disappointed by that. There are a lot of people who now say
Yeah.
that the bottle basically it's like 2 hours and done. So when I heard that
Wow.
you're at 2 hours and out, I was really like, whoa. And the sad thing is, it's like I'm running on fumes of my 3.3 ounce. I have basically I abused that scent last year. So I only have like about 30. I have like about 30 to 40 mLs of it at this point. So I feel like now I have to conserve it like Gucci Envy right now, and it's sad because now I'm on fumes with that also. By the
Yeah.
way,
No, like you're literally
yeah.
like, wow, like the scent is great and all. And
It was
I couldn't
eight
go.
hours on me.
Mhm.
Now it's 2 hours. Really?
Yeah, like, but I think you should find out for yourself, like, if the reformulation's like that bad.
It's been definitely like when I hear like I mean we're all in the same groups. When you have like I'm saying at least 2-3 dozen people in various ways communicate to me, bro, it's lasting on me for like 2 hours, man. Like that basically puts me on. It's confirmed. I'm not. I'm convinced. I would not take the chance to buy a 10-ounce Flacon like I was really tempted to doing because of the,
The value.
lackness of
Uh,
my current situation. So I was literally going to go out and get up and re-up on a huge Flacon. I was like, oh, amped up. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I'm about to make the purchase. And I did that review, and I'm glad I actually did it because them informing me of that makes me reconsider my choice.
I love the
Now I'd
Franco.
rather, yeah. I mean, now I think original Vetiver is worth the price at this point.
Wow. That was what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, despite the 6.7 Mugler Cologne's value,
Mm-hmm.
you would consider original Vetiver.
I mean, to get that scent and know that it's going to last on me, I would pay the extra amount. I mean,
because it's that
The,
great of a scent.
yeah, because that fragrance, I think, is just amazing to me, and it's just the perfect summer scent. And if I can get a fragrance like the original Mugler cologne that can last that long, 7-8 hours, I mean, for that smell, it's just a no-brainer for me. Now, the original vetiver version is just even an upgrade to that. So it's like, I feel like it's at this point, if you can, not of course retail, but if I can of course get it for within the 151 to 175 range, I would actually pay for that. I would actually pay for that. I'm a fan of it. I think that scent is awesome. You don't?
Sorry?
Do you have you smelled it? Have you smelled Mugler cologne?
Of
What
course.
do you think of it?
Yeah, no, it's a great scent.
I mean,
it was almost in my original vetiver even was almost in my top 3. It might have been my number 4 or 5 for sure. It would have been my top 5 for sure. But I'm about Mugler cologne personally, and I like it and original vetiver. I'm considering original vetiver as well for the same reasons you mentioned. Now thinking about it, because like when I smelled Mugler cologne initially, I'm like, wow, there's nothing else like this shit.
Right. It was just. It was actually, I was like, wow. And I'm not going to lie, I have a soapy that I prefer over it. And grateful that I did get a big bottle of it. So, like, that's going to last me a pretty long time.
I just think it's crazy how they were able to replicate a scent that doesn't, remotely use vetiver and make vetiver the main note of this remix, essentially.
Yeah,
So Creed is essentially reinventing that scent, and I don't think that's too. I think that's cool that they copied it, but like the fact they did it in their own way, I think.
Well, yeah, and then on top of that, adding the vetiver does add to the longevity of the fragrance.
Absolutely,
so it allows it to be a lot more pungent and impactful on the skin. So that's what I'm looking for a lot.
And I actually look at original vetiver as has more signature scent potential as a result, because
for sure
Mugler cologne is super
every season. Well, no, I actually would wear Mugler cologne all year. I mean, it's a scent to me, like I said in my review, it's like that secret, it's like a secret ad. It's like it's good enough for the winter, but it's made for the summer. But it's good enough for the winter. You could definitely wear it all year round without no issue. To me, it's like a skeleton key set for real. It's like you can wear it dressed up, dressed down. It's a dumb reach scent, like the Frag Brothers would say.
Shout out to the Fragrance Brothers.
Salute
to them. I know Jer, for example, is about Mugler cologne over original vetiver. I think he said that he just doesn't like the way that original vetiver dried down on him.
Who?
Jer on Fragrance Bros.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting, but I'd have to rewatch that Fragrance.
Yeah, me and Jer have very similar tastes, I've noticed. Like I kind of agree with him on a lot of things I'm saying. Like, and even in that case, like I would much rather prefer Mugler cologne in its original formulation
than original vetiver now.
Yeah, but if I have to, but in its original formulation, for sure, because it's like, why would you spend like $400 for 4.2 ounces when you can get pretty much an amazing fragrance, right? An original concept, actually, because it is, right?
I love how Creed calls it original vetiver too, because first off, it's not even their first vetiver, so it's not original back then.
No, right? Yeah,
and they cloned this shit. Man, Creed is something else.
And they get away with it easily. It's amazing. They don't. There's an amazing double standard when it comes to certain brands. Now, not to hate on Creed. I think Creed is awesome at what they do. They're the king of freshies. Like I mean, you cannot hate on that.
We might catch a quick 100 dislikes right now, so we gotta watch our words.
Yeah, I know, right? You'll have dislikes, but.
Yeah, people out here buying dislikes.
No, but hopefully people understand and respect. There's not a knock on them. It's just an observation that's very, very easy to make if you're just paying attention, But again, they did a better job. It's not like you can say Creed does not do a better job when they do copy a scent. They do a better job than the scent they're copying. They always do.
Yeah.
You cannot say that, hey, when Creed clones you, they're doing you they're crapping on you really, but because they're taking your scent and making it better. But it's also an honor, so that's why one of the reasons why I actually give individuals so much love, because I mean, to be honest with you, it's like if Creed is copying you, you must be good. If that's one of the reasons why I give Mugler Cologne so much love as well. Same reason.
Definitely. It means like the scent was just amazing. Or is there any hint of Yop in original Santal, or is it primarily just individual?
I primarily get individual. I don't really smell too much of Yop. I mean, I guess if you really tried hard, you can find a little of it. But I really, as soon as I smell Santal, I immediately think individual.
Yeah, I think
it's like that. It's one of those types of things. So, I can't help it. My mind immediately goes to that fragrance. It's a mental association that's way too strong. So
I get that.
Yeah,
Mont Blanc's a funny company too. Because like this is kind of off topic as far as in regards to like clones or like fragrances in general.
Yeah.
But I was looking up what Mont Blanc was, because I didn't know what they were remotely until I got into the fragrance game, because I got into individual. I'm like, this is a sick frag. So I go on their site and I'm like, what else do they make? And I realize they're that really expensive pen manufacturer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, cheapest thing on their site is fragrance, literally.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And they sell like writing instruments for like, you got to put a down payment on them or something.
Yes,
like,
thousands.
Their cheapest pens, 510 US.
Yes, sir.
What?
And to be honest with you, the quality of the quality is just unmatched, though. Well, not unmatched. I'm sure there are definitely pen companies that do a better job quality-wise, but Mont Blanc is definitely up there. They do an amazing job with the pens. I actually have never owned a Mont Blanc pen, but I know of people. My doctor owns a few. Like I know of people who use them, and I've used them myself. And there's nothing like writing with one. It's like they glide on the paper. They do an amazing job.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. $3,400 pen.
Yeah. Now, see, this is the thing, and this is one of the weird things that I find about companies that do designers. If they took as much pride in their fragrances as they do in the products that they are known for, their fragrances would be, and the fragrance game would be so much better right now.
Might as well be everyone's niche then,
Yeah, I mean, like the quality of Mont Blanc pens is not, I feel, matched in Mont Blanc fragrances.
Okay,
it's nowhere near like the quality of a Dior's private label clothing. Like their clothing is like next level. Chanel's clothing, next level. If they made fragrances that matched the quality of their clothing brands, it would be like, whoa. It would be like we would be I believe so grateful as a fragrance community.
I think it's a good thing that they are kind of doing that, though. In my opinion, the exclusive lines of these fragrance houses, of these designer brands houses, are that, is them actually giving a shit and putting work as far as now you have pricing comparable to your actual clothes. For example, like a Chanel tee or top, women's top could go well over like $500. And then they have like their exclusive line, which, is definitely like in the few hundreds.
Right.
In comparison to like, their Chance or Chance Eau Vive or Cristal or their Allure Homme lines and stuff like that. So having a two-tiered system, I think is really cool, because you have one sense that could be marketed towards laymen or casuals. And then two, you have sense for, those overly ritzy people or people who want to pay that kind of stuff. So
that's the same thing. That's the same thing like in their clothing lines. They have their ready to wear collections, and then they have their haute couture collections first.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
I think the one the one designer house that does the best job of distinguishing between both is definitely like Armani and then like Armani Exchange.
Mm.
Yeah, because Armani Exchange, clearly that's like borderline H&M level. Yeah, like facts. And then
Yeah. Okay.
obviously they have like that's their like ready to wear like designer level pretty much.
Right.
And then they have their actual like made to wear kind of stuff pretty much.
Right. Made to order.
Made to order, yeah. So I think
Right.
that's really cool that they have that. So it's kind of like
But then you got to also keep in mind, this is the thing I always find interesting. It's like Dior's, for instance, their clothing creations are constantly critically acclaimed, critically acclaimed, next level, inspirational. Dior's clothes inspire other brands in terms of like their style and the direction of where they're going stylistically. And it just seems as if sometimes when it comes to their fragrances, it's almost as if they look at their customers in different lights. Certain customers are considered in a different way.
mm-hmm.
So the customer who can afford a Dior outfit is a customer who is looked at in a different light than the customer who will buy a Dior Homme cologne in Macy's. That's what I particularly feel. Yeah, so I feel like they're and that's not to knock the Dior Homme at all, but it's just to say, like, it's just interesting that there's such an onus on quality. Yeah, there's so much focus on quality when it comes to certain products that these designer brands make, that they don't really invest as much, I feel, in the fragrance divisions within these same designer brands.
Like the exclusive lines?
In some cases, yes. Because,
I'm gonna 100% agree with you there, because I take a look at like Tom Ford private blends lately, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this ain't niche quality. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's
especially
definitely
some
debatable.
of the aquatic shit. I'm like, there's no way this should be above $100. Like, you couldn't pay me to pay for like Neroli Portofino at that price.
Really?
Nah, hell
really?
No.
Yeah. Wow.
Especially at that performance too. Like, hell no.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel like to a lot of people, it's not about the longevity at all. It's like,
I still don't
it's about the scenario. But see, that's another thing. I don't think when Tom Ford makes a fragrance for $250 or $400 or whatever price he makes that lasts for 4 hours, I don't think he's thinking of people who consider the price when they purchase a fragrance.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He's basically saying, look, this is your moment scent. This is your occasion scent. You're going somewhere, you're going to a dinner, you wear this to that dinner. That dinner lasts 3 hours, you get home, the scent will be over before you get there. But that's the point. It's to wear to that dinner. It's to wear to that event. It's to do that.
Or when it comes to like, when it comes to those aquatic scents, it's more like for like obviously the occasion of maybe hitting up your yacht for a few hours, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is, people who spend a lot of money for fragrances, you have to consider they don't want to smell like the same scent the whole day. A lot of people, and this is me also, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm one of those people who I like in the summer, especially those fragrances that last 4 or 5 hours. To me, a 6-hour fragrance in the summer is beast mode.
Okay.
Yeah. To be honest, is beast mode, because I prefer a fragrance in the summer to peter out around the 4 or 5 hour mark, because I want to probably wear something else later on in the day. After I'm showered up and everything. And like, if you're wearing a really intense scent, even after you shower, that scent will still be lingering on your body. And when you try to add another scent on top of it, it just clashes. It could be, you have to really pay attention to, will this scent complement the scent that I just wore? So I like those fleeting scents in the summertime. I think that's why they're fleeting. I think they know what they're doing when it comes to that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
But we as a frag community, and I think many of us as consumers, we just want that thing to last. It's like we want it to, we want it to just, we want it to hulk. But at the end of the day, I think you have to consider, it's not meant for that in the summer.
Absolutely,
The summertime is about refreshing scents and scents that basically are moment scents.
Thirst or your need for that 2 or 3 hours.
That scenario, yeah.
Respect.
Pretty much.
And thinking about it now, summer scents for me can get super boring super fast. So the fact that it's more conducive to allow you to switch it up based on the fact that, my nose is going to get bored of X amount of scents anyway. And the fact that they're going to not last that long does that a favor, because now, like you said, I can switch it up for the nighttime.
Exactly.
And that's fun. So like,
so that's one of the reasons why I love Hermes, for instance. Hermes is one of my favorite brands because in the summertime, you can go 2-3 Hermes fragrances in a day if you choose, from morning to the afternoon, if you choose to, and it wouldn't clash. They don't clash with each other. They actually lend to the next scent. And there are fragrances that you can wear for moments. And I think that's what they're meant to be for. And I think people get a little frustrated with their longevity, but I don't think they keep in mind that they're moment scents. They're not meant to last for 8, 9, 10 hours.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, scents that really push that much, they might not be the most comfortable wearing scents in the summer.
I ain't gonna front, like this was dumb as shit, and I didn't check the weather, but like one of these days, like recently, like last week, it was about like 20 something Celsius. My dumb ass my dumb ass decided to whip out tobacco Veni. Had no idea why. Wow. And like it feels like shit. Like awful. Like cause like literally like I thought it was gonna be a cooler day. I'm like, you know what? YOLO. I'm gonna throw on a winter spring.
YOLO.
In this like late spring. And I did. And I'm like, oh shit. I go outside, bright as hell out. And like I look at the thermometer because I have one up on my like house right here. And I was like, no way. I was like, big mistake. I didn't even bother trying to wash that off, try to get through my day. As far as the errands I was running / I was meeting up for like an upscale dinner that day. Not upscale dinner, an upscale lunch. And I'm like, this is a mistake.
And you said it was a warm day? It was
a warm ass day, and I wore tobacco Veni like an idiot.
So you know what? You pretty much wore a winter coat in the summer, pretty much.
That's what it felt like. Like
yeah,
I literally went with one spray on my neck, one on my shirt, and that was enough for me to feel like someone wearing a winter coat.
Yeah,
in a summer.
That's exactly kind of what you did, and that's what. And it's funny because people say, I don't care, I wear a scent whenever. The other thing about these companies is they create fragrances for certain moments, like I keep saying, but they also make it for certain weather scenarios also.
Absolutely. They don't have certain people in mind. Obviously, I would say some companies are more reverent to like tropical situations, like Hermes's Hermescence line, for example. That's just conducive for any summer. I think that's made perfectly clear. Right. But then there's like people who are still wearing like winter scents that are clearly made for the winter from like these French companies. And I'm like, whoa, you're crazy. Cause like I know people like back home in like the Philippines who will like literally wear like Tom Ford Noir,
Right. Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, we all did that. I mean, that's the thing. Like I did that. I did that all the time. I do that all like, I mean, when I can honestly say, I mean, when I first started wearing scents a lot, I didn't know that certain scents were supposed to be worn for certain weather scenarios. I didn't realize that, like, I mean, at the end of the day, for instance, like, I mean, and it's so deep because these brands, they literally tell it to you in their marketing, in their packaging. They are like literally shouting to you, wear this now, wear this. Okay. So like, for instance, all these fragrances that have noir or black in them, those are normally nighttime scents, night out fragrances.
Nighttime scents, night out fragrances for cooler weather occasions.
Right. Now, when you see these fragrances in green bottles, what do you think?
Definitely like spring, if not summer.
There you go. Exactly. So, I mean, and when you think red, you think fall. When you think the yellow bottles, when you think green, it's like when you think yellow, you think the summer.
Aquatic. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's another summer alternative. So it's like, those, like, they literally tell you in their packaging and the color of the bottles, like when to wear it. And absolutely. I mean, if you can ignore it if you choose, but it's akin to literally wearing like sandals while it's snowing, or like boots in the boots in the high heat. You know, like who wears? You know, you wouldn't wear like UGG boots, you know, in the summer. So you know, it's just certain things you just, you know, they're just certain things you just don't do because they just don't work, and it just doesn't work to wear like Amen, you know, in the summer blazing heat. You know, that tar, you'll smell like a roof for at least an hour.
Smell like a roof, straight up. Imagine if that shit was like non-reformulated Amen, dude, wearing that out in the summer. Crazy.
I love the tar, by the way, but yeah, no, you don't want to do it.
Have you done that shit ever?
Not in the summer.
Like Amen or like Fahrenheit in the summer?
Fahrenheit for sure, because I was young, dumb, and fun. So yeah, I didn't care. But you know, you get older, you learn a few things. You know, okay, wait a minute. You know,
you make different moves in life.
Yeah, you change it up. You know, you get wiser. So I learned a little more that, you know, like wearing gas scents while it's blazing heat is not the move. But guess what? It's funny because you can do it now, because the Fahrenheit formulations today literally smell like soap. Like, that's interesting. I didn't think about that, but maybe I'll just focus a little bit more on Fahrenheit now that my Mugler is leaving me, because I do have other soapies, but you know, I'm now starting to look at Fahrenheit as a soapy fragrance at this point. The violet in that scent now is more on that soapy side than it used to be. You know, I mean, before it was just so strong in that petrol vibe, but now it's a little bit toned down and a lot more soapy. I get a lot, like, let me put it like this. I literally will layer Infusion Dome by Prada with Fahrenheit, and
that smells pretty good,
beautifully.
Like, yeah,
try it. I dare
visualizing this.
People, if you have those
both fragrances,
try it out. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm curious. Try it out. I think they blend beautifully together. And especially because Infusion Dome is just, it's extreme. It doesn't like it's not an intrusive scent. It's not overbearing, so it lends well to Fahrenheit and allows Fahrenheit to take the control for the length of it, but then the Infusion Dome really, really kicks in later. So they're complementary scents. It's shocking to know that, but I was blown away by that, to be honest, because you wouldn't think that those two scents would work.
You wouldn't think so, no. But hey, you know, one soapier per se.
Of course, oh yeah, Infusion Dome is way more, but I just can't shake the thought of soap out my mind when I smell Fahrenheit today. Like, it's
no, I guess so. Yeah,
it's really, really interesting. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. You know,
I feel like soapy fragrances have blended super well for me as well. Like, I've done it. Like, I've blended X amount of fragrances with, like, Prada Amber Pour Homme, for example, which I love. Like, this is crazy.
Weird? Can I just really, you know, everybody talks about Prada Amber and it being soapy, but I do not get that when I smell that fragrance.
Okay.
I know that's weird. I don't know what it is about that scent, but I don't get soapy.
Wait, you also have,
it almost
like,
smells oriental,
right?
to me, huh?
You have Sung right?
Yes,
Alfred
I do. Yes.
I'm like, okay, that's hella more soapier.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. But in an old school way.
If you're used to that, like, there's no way, like, this is that soapy, like Prada Amber.
No, I mean, Prada Amber, to me, it's more of a sweet vanilla type of fragrance.
Wow, you get vanilla out of this shit?
I get a lot of sweetness. It kind of reminds me of I don't get much of a soap scent when I smell it.
Here's what I get from Prada Amber Pour Homme. I automatically think, like, non-scented work environment. It's just like,
maybe I haven't smelt the soap that matches that scent. Like, I've smelt Irish Spring, and that definitely reminds me of Mugler cologne. So,
I feel that. You know, yeah,
I probably haven't run into the Prada Amber.
It's
bar soap,
maybe not so much bar soap, but like plain, like, shower gel type scent, like, just overly fresh. Like, I get that out of this Prada Amber Pour Homme. And my favorite layer with Prada Amber Pour Homme, and it just goes, is Prada Amber Pour Homme with Chanel's Platinum Egoist. And I just get this metal bomb, and I love it. And it's
Wow.
hilarious. So I like to do that like when I'm feeling like super crafty. Like I'll do that on like a cooler spring day, like for work. If I feel like being a little bit more disrespectful with those very two safe scents, I like doing that.
Right.
But
You see what? There is a lot of vanilla in Prada Amber.
I know a lot of people
like
get it.
I
don't.
You don't get the vanilla in that fragrance? It's extremely noticeable. Like that's probably one of the reasons why I don't get soap out of it, because when I think of it, it just reminds me of a balsamics type of scent.
Okay, all right.
It doesn't kind of come across soapy to me. It smells like a sweet Oriental.
Like I get vanilla, but like I don't get. I wouldn't even go as far to say it's a main note for me.
Oh, it is an Oriental. It's a Fougere Oriental. Okay, it's an Oriental Fougere.
I know it's considered.
That's kind of what it reminds me.
I feel.
Yeah.
Like maybe like your nose is more versed in that sense than I am. It's just like I smelled that. I smell like straight up soap. I'm sorry. It's just like so unequivocal for me. But
see, Infusion Dome, that is to me. So like I literally can't, like when I smell that, it reminds me of like very high quality soap. Like, soapy down.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was that. But I was wondering, just because like if we can somehow come back to the topic in clones.
Sure.
Have you ever layered two clones together? And if so, has that worked out?
I layered Club de Nuit Intense Man with
Tell me you did it with another Ventus clone and not
I sure did, by Lattafa, called Aldur Al Maknoun, which is a fragrance that was done by Lattafa that hasn't got that much buzz in the community right now. But I think it's probably the most realistic in terms of the quality of the scent and its opening. I think it's the most realistic alternative to a vintage you can get. Wow. The only problem with this fragrance is its longevity, which isn't really a problem when you wear it again in the summertime. It's a moment scent. So, you are going to a movie with your girl, Al Dur Al Maknoun is a really, really good option. It's really authentic smelling. It doesn't recreate. Now, Aventus is another fragrance that in a little way, it has a soapiness to it, in my opinion, also, especially in that opening.
Wait, you find the opening soapy?
Yes.
Aventus?
Yes. I know that's weird.
I wouldn't say it's that weird. I think,
but there's like in the beginning though, in the first, I would say 30 to 45 to an hour, I get a soapiness from that scent. But I would combine those two fragrances, and because Club de Nuit Intense Man has a really strong smokiness to it, so it mimics the smokiness of the smoky batches, and Al Dur Al Maknoun, I think, mimics the fruity batch really well, effectively, I should say. So those two combined, I think, are really good.
You get that pineapple, smoky birch.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds with them. Of course, I don't put them on top of each other. The way I layer them is, I spray them in the same areas, but just opposite places. So if it's on my the nape of your elbow, for instance, like I'll just put one on one side, one on the other, just like that. Spray basically the middle of my chest, but one higher than the other, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's those two I think really work well. What are yours?
What are mine? Okay, I've only really layered Golden Boy by Duetto Parfums with Tuscan Leather. No, the only reason I did that, like I inadvertently.
That's overdosing.
No, it is. But I inadvertently did that just because I just wanted to see which one would last longer.
Wow. Which one lasts longer?
Duetto Parfums Golden Boy lasts longer.
Yeah, the new formulations of Tuscan Leather are really disappointing also.
They're super whack. Yeah. They're not good.
They've changed it so much.
Like
there was a time when it used to be like 12 hours, 14 hours. People were saying they were getting 16 hours out of an application of Tuscan Leather. Today, it's less than 6.
Again,
7.
like with Golden Boy, I get anywhere from 20 to 24 hours. But that goes the same for every fragrance I've used from Duetto Parfums. Like, I'll take what I can get because, like, these are cold.
That's extract level, right?
It feels like it. It's
That's
a bomb.
crazy.
I choked myself out first day I ever wore it.
They're parfums?
Yes, they're eau de parfums on steroids. Like, that's how I feel about this stuff. Like, I feel like that's another reason to why I went with them, not just because of value, but literally I'm getting double the performance I would from, Tuscan leather. Like, Tuscan leather, I get like anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours nowadays.
Wow. 8 to 10? That's even better than I mean,
wow.
I literally sprayed it, and Layukwam lasts longer.
Okay.
Which is another reason why I would say it's number one.
Layukwam, but I know that, actually, I can't say I've never used Layukwam. I've smelled it, but I've never tested. I smelled the potency though. It's definitely
there. Lingers and it sticks to clothes really well.
It stuck to
really well.
It stuck to the test strip I was using at my homie's house, and automatically I'm like, there's sillage there for sure. Like, I feel like I smelled it in the other room. So there's that. Well, hey guys, that about does it for our episode of the Fragcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. E, thank you so much for coming on.
For sure, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Where again can we find you?
Simply Put Scents.
So that's youtube.com. Just Google Simply Put Scents, or search for Simply Put Scents on the site. And I'll have a link towards his channel in the description below as well. Also, if you guys would like to tell us in the comments, what are your top 3 clones or fragrance clones or other fragrance iterations of other things? Again, now we kind of associate the word clone, and some people view that as a stigma. I don't even know anymore. If you guys want to tell me how you feel about that, please do so as well. Again, I'd like to thank E. I am Manny David. You can find me at youtube.com/CascadeScents.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
The Fragcast as well. So it's been a pleasure again. Thank you, E. And thank you guys for listening. Peace out.